trash king. Well, count me what you will, I ain't upscale, I know what you really mean. That's just life, now let's drive when you're the trailer trash king. I know what you really mean. That's just life, now let's drive when you're the trailer trash king.
And welcome back to another installment of Trailer Trash TV. I'm still your host, Scotty J. And we're going to launch right into it this time around with no prelude, no nothing. We're going to kick into our Godzilla and Japanese trailers block with something called The War of the Gargantuas from 1965. Following that up with Godzilla vs. Monster Zero, also from 65. And rounding out this block with Godzilla vs. the Sea Monster from 1966. Check these out. I'm going to take a break. I got to go. And we'll see you soon.
Well, お役に立つかどうかは分かりませんがね。ベルリン陥落直後、ドイツの潜水艦からフランケンシュタインの心臓を引き取って広島英治病院へ届けました。その時、永久に死なない心臓だと聞いたんです。
やっぱりその心臓から怪物が発生するんですか？
どうしたのよ。いいえ、人間です。フランケンシュタインだとしても人間ですよ。
しかしまともな人間じゃない。作られた人間です。
こんな事件が起こってもフランケンシュタインじゃないとおっしゃるんですか？
We don't know yet whether he caused all that destruction or not.
War of the Gargantuas. Interesting film in the respect that you got these two sibling monstrosities, for lack of a better term, that are duking it out and using the world as their fighting arena. Godzilla versus Monster Zero. Monster Zero sent from outer space to destroy Godzilla. La 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 la. We've seen it before. Godzilla versus the Sea Monster. This one was kind of unique, very underrated Godzilla film, but it was fun nonetheless. So, with that said, we're going to take a break. We're going to come back with some more Martin Lewis on the heels of last week's show. So stay tuned.
Finger, and this is your thumb. Isn't thumb a silly word? Thumb. You must be so hungry. You're such a good baby not to cry. All right, baby Patterberg, here's your bottle. Not too fast now. All right, you'll feel much better in a minute. Come on, baby Patterberg. Just one little bird. You're the most beautiful baby in the whole world, with the biggest and bluest eyes and the cutest little nose. I could just eat you up because I love you so much. Are you going to burp for Mama? I just never know when you're going to burp.
Mattel's new baby Patterburp doll really burps just like a real baby. Get her wherever toys are sold, and you can love her too.
Come on, baby. Not too fast. Careful. You can make it. That's a good baby.
This is baby first step. She can actually walk by herself. Just move this hidden button, and she walks. Just like a baby who's learning. If she falls, just help her get started again. Baby First Step is Mattel's most remarkable new doll. The doll who really walks by herself. You don't have to hold her hands or anything. But Baby First Step is a baby. That's why she needs someone to teach her, to take care of her, and love her. Someone like you. You can get Mattel's remarkable new Baby First Step wherever toys are sold. She's the doll who actually walks by herself. You can tell she's Mattel. She's swell.
Okay, I'm looking at the Martin and Lewis block for this time around, and we're heading up to the end of the career of Martin and Lewis as a team. They started to have their differences. They didn't want to work together. Dean didn't want to work with Jerry, etc., etc. Dean wanted to pursue the singing aspect, and he felt Jerry was tying him down, blah, blah, blah. But depending on whose story you believe, the whole team went to pot, basically. So we're going to start this block with one called Living It Up from 1954, going into You're Never Too Young from 1955, and rounding out well, virtually their last film together. Ironically enough, the last film in this block is called Pardners from 1956. So check these out. I'll be right back.
They're the biggest sensation that ever hit big-hearted New York. Because thanks to that beautiful sob sister Janet Leigh, everybody in town thinks Jerry's going to die of radioactivity in a few days. But just between us, the kid's a lovable fake. Just look at him kick up his heels with that shimmying bombshell from Broadway, Sherry North. Dean's got a stack of song hits. And Janet's just the gal to sing them to.
Money burns a hole in my pocket.
And Jerry's got them all bamboozled with his frantic antics.
I am Dr. Chauncey Lee. Uncle.
I'm nice. Oh, nice boy. On your feet, you phony basset hound.
Wally.
And you keep your hands off of me, you singing quack.
Should I try bombs away?
Well, you'd better try something, because in a couple of hours, the whole city of New York is going to be baying at the door, howling for your blood.
Just remember there's the east side and the west side and up, down, and down.
you imagine? Dean and Jerry cutting capers with the cute little chicks in an all-girls school. But if you think you're ever too young for loving and laughing, look at Jerry masquerading as a little boy. You see, everybody thinks he's just a crazy, mixed-up 10-year-old, including the public enemy who has him worried to death, and the gorgeous schoolmarm who teaches him the facts of life.
Hello, Bob.
Hello. Look, you stick to the little ones. The big ones are mine.
Song hits by the score, like this catchy love ditty Dean croons to Diana Lynn.
I know your mother loves you, your father loves you too.
And talk about laughs, this time Jerry really tops himself.
We all sit around the campfire. Campfire.
Was I too loud?
No, that wasn't bad at all.
Thank you.
Wilbur! Stop him, he's a crook!
I got him. He can't get away. Don't worry. I got him now. I got him. Oh, I can't
Oh, wait a minute. You gotta take me with you. Come on, your father and my father were partners. They died together.
When I'm ready to die, you can be my partner.
Oh, we can be partners. Well, that's swell. When I die?
The VistaVision screen is wide open for howls when Dean and Jerry head for the wide open spaces.
Say, I'll bet you dance real pretty.
Oh, no, I can't dance at all. No, no. No, oh, please. Oh, please.
Dean's got a hankering for pretty Laurie Nelson.
We don't need a comfortable parlor. We don't need a phonograph tune. All we need to get going is me, you, and the moon.
Jerry's going sparking with perky Jackie Lockery.
We better get back to town.
Yeah, I guess so. Giddy up.
And when they elect Jerry sheriff, the riot really starts rolling.
Oh, there's a hole in this. Tom wasn't very neat.
There's fighting
Wait, couldn't we just talk for one second?
and dancing.
First old couple, rip and snort. Down the center and cut them off short. Lady go G and a gent go haw. Second 11-year-old grandma.
And shooting.
All right. Who wants to go first?
They're partners! They're partners in town!
You and me, we're gonna be partners.
They're gonna be found. They'll do and share alike. They'll share what there's to share alike. And go for money, whiskey.
So you get a couple of buffoons that want to try to become a part of high society, and you get something called living it up. Enough said. You're never too young. You could see the team was on the decline. Not a whole lot to be said about this. You're Never Too Young from 1955. And rounding out this block, yeah, ironically, the title of their last film together, Gene Martin, Jerry Lewis, Pardners from 1956. You could see it had a couple of classic gags, but it didn't have the same spice as their early films. So that being said, we're going to take a break, and I'm coming right back with Troma Pictures.
People that make toys like this must really care about children. Today, when almost everything seems to be made of plastic, Woodies are made of wood. Just like when I was a little girl. Woodies. What a cute name. Every Wee Woodies Village toy adds to the play value of the others. It's great that my child can learn while being entertained. Woodies are super safe. Woodies are wonderful. From Mego.
Mego presents the Planet of the Apes action figures. Dr. Zaius, the orangutan scientist. Cornelius, the archaeologist. Zira, the woman scientist. The soldier ape. And the astronaut. All Planet of the Apes action figures sold separately by Mego.
The Walton's country home is happy as can be, 'cause it's filled with loving people who are one fine family. Oh, they're good and kind and fair and strong. They always try to get along. You'll never want to roam from the Walton's country home.
The Walton's Country Home with Mom and Pop, John Boy and Ellen, Grandma and Grandpa, and a wonderful pickup truck. It's a whole family of fun.
Every minute of every day, the Walton's country home is happy as can be, 'cause it's filled with loving people who are one fine family. Oh, they're good and kind and fair and strong. They always try to get along. You'll never want to roam from the Walton's country home. Oh, you'll never want to roam from the Walton's country home. You'll never want to roam from the Walton's country home.
The Walton's Country Home from Mego.
Yeah, I'm looking at my trauma block for this week, and we're gonna hinge on a little bit of splash. It's not gonna be bad. You're gonna see some red trickles here and there, but nothing like your Jasons or your Freddys or anything like that. So we're gonna continue on with the horror block of trauma pictures. Starting off with something called Curse of the Cannibal Confederates. More of a horror comedy than anything. And yeah, launching after that into something called Sucker the Vampire. It works. Not particularly my favorite trauma horror flick, but it works. And I'm looking at the last title, and you know, they talk about safe sex. This is more of a what would happen if. This is something called Killer Condom. Yes, honest to God, I checked my sources, rechecked my sources. That's the name of the film. It's rounding out this trauma block, a movie called Killer Condom. What that's... I'm going to take a break. We'll be right back. Killer Cat... No way.
Oh, man. Look at this, a Confederate flag. This thing must be 100 years old. Hey, you guys, come here. Look what we found.
80 and many, many years ago, during America's Civil War between the North and the South, a brave battalion of Southern Confederate soldiers was captured by the Northern Yankee Army and tortured to death.
There must have been a battle here.
Doesn't say anything about a battle on any of those stones. Just a list of names like they're all buried in the same grave.
Before they died, they vowed that the South shall rise again. And it did.
Now, more than 100 years later, the blood-soaked battlefields have become an accursed cemetery where vows of vengeance reverberate.
I don't like this place.
So if you're planning a picnic lunch at an historical site, don't. You may have to face the curse of the Cannibal Confederates. The South shall rise again. The most gruesome flesh-eating ghouls you've ever experienced. Oh, shit. In the film that brings new meaning to the phrase, Southern hospitality. Care for some Southern fried chicken? The Curse of the Cannibal Confederates. A jolly jaunt in the woods becomes a horrifying holocaust of death. And a flesh-eating feast for the living dead. The police are baffled. Sicko! The girls are terrified. The boys are traumatized.
There's too many of them.
And the Cannibal Confederates are hungry. Curse of the Cannibal Confederates. It's a finger-licking good fright film. Curse of the Cannibal Confederates. The South shall rise again. And again. And again. And again. Curse of the Cannibal Confederates.
Real twisted, sicko.
Down in the graveyard on a Saturday night when the chains on the gates are locked up tight. You're my graveyard girlfriend. You're my graveyard girlfriend. All right. A midnight picnic on a blanket for two. There's a full moon shining on me and you. You're my graveyard girlfriend. You're my graveyard girlfriend. All right. The whole damn world is going to hell, but when I'm with you, I can never tell. You're my graveyard girlfriend. You're my graveyard girlfriend. You're gonna love this.
Something horrible is invading New York. Something terrifying. Something you've never seen before. It's the killer condom, the rubber that rubs you out. Danger is everywhere. The army of condoms have overrun the city. Only one man is brave enough to take on the crazed condoms. Luigi Macaroni, police detective. He alone must do battle with the army of death, preying upon the citizens of New York City. Played by Udo Sammel, star of the masterpieces of German cinema, Far Away So Close and Caspar Hauser, Macaroni must save the city and himself from the destructive power of the killer condoms. The conspiracy that he uncovers is so shocking that it could cost him his life. Under the direction of Martin Waltz and boasting the lavish production of Ralph Dietrich and Harold Reichebner, Ralph Koenig's comic book becomes terrifyingly real. Brought to horrifying life by Academy Award winner H.R. Geiger, whose creations thrilled you in Alien and Species. Killer Condom was an official selection of the prestigious Berlin Film Festival and has won accolades from audiences worldwide. In a world where safe sex is deadly, it's the killer condom, the rubber that rubs you out. It's from Troma, of course.
Creepy crawlers, creepy crawlers, creepy crawlers.
Now, you can make all kinds of lovely things like these with Mattel's wonderful Thing Maker. It makes creepy crawlers, spiders, lizards, snakes, dragonflies. Make them yourself with this nice plastic goop. Choose a mold, pour in the goop, heat it, and presto changeo, you've got bugs. Squiggly, squirty bugs. They feel so soft and natural. You get 4 different colors of goop and special paints. Make charming lizard pins or spider rings. You can collect them or spread them around. After all, they're fun for the entire family. Get Mattel's new Thing Maker with creepy crawlers. You can tell it's Mattel. It's swell.
Watch. Something unbelievable is going to happen. Mattel's new Cheerful Tearful. She can be happy, or she can be sad. Just like you. Move her arm up, and she smiles. Down, and she cries. Real tears. When she gets frightened, she needs you to comfort her. When Cheerful Tearful gets hungry, she needs you to give her her own bottle. When she has a hurt, she needs you to make it better. Mattel's astonishing new Cheerful Tearful. You can always make her happy again when she's yours. You can tell she's Mattel. She's swell.
Okay. So this week's Classroom Classic. As I said, all our Classroom Classics this year are going to be predominantly social development films, sex ed films, driver's ed films. Yeah, I know it's a mixed bag, but it's my show. So this time around, we're going to start with an early driver's ed film called The Smith System of Accident-Free Driving. Or something to that effect. The Smith System. It was actually I want to say it was a film that was put out by one of the major car companies of the time, and it was their way of showing how their vehicles were safer than others, etc., etc. But yeah, Smith System of Accident-Free Driving. Following that up with a nice little cutesy social guidance film called Understanding Others. You got the oh-so-happy perky people, and you got the down-below-a-rock, not-so-happy people in this film. All the characters are played so over the top, but that was the mentality of the 40s and 50s when society and the powers that be thought how kids should behave. That being said, I'm out. sjtrailertrash@yahoo.com is the email. www.trailertrashtv.150m is the brand new official website of Trailer Trash TV. With that being said, we'll see you next time out. I've been your host, Scotty J. See ya.
Bill, before you go, I'd like to remind you one more time about the importance of using these mirrors. We have had so many sideswipe accidents.
Harold L. Smith, originator of the Smith system of no-accident driving, has instructed thousands of drivers, including many professionals. In fact, he's the pro's pro. According to Smith,
a good driver should be able to drive for 5 to 10 years without once being trapped in a situation where he has to swerve or skid his tires on dry pavement to avoid an accident.
with 5 good driving habits, which tell you what to see and what to look for. Aim high in steering. Get the big picture. Keep your eyes moving. Make sure they see you. Leave yourself an out. The Smith system protects you from distractions that lead to accidents. For instance, the route distraction. You get so interested in whether to turn or stop, you put on the brakes without checking the rear. Or you permit yourself to be distracted by the scenery. Or get to wool gathering about personal affairs, so you fail to see where you're driving. Another cause of accidents is any sort of distraction inside the car that takes your eyes away from your driving. And still another distraction results from lack of practice in performing unfamiliar driving tasks. The driver whose seeing habits are adjusted to familiar rural roads can be easily confused by the complications of city traffic. It works both ways. When city drivers encounter unfamiliar driving conditions in the country, these distractions should not get you into serious trouble if you practice the 5 good habits of the Smith system. Aim high in steering. Your target is the center of your lane way out ahead. If you look out there, your car will automatically move in the center of the lane. Low aim driving sighted over the left fender will cause you to drive way over here to your left. A perfect setup for an accident. Now that you are aiming high, get the big picture ahead. You are moving through a constantly changing scene, and the important thing is to see the right things. You will see the wide, deep scene, noting key parts of the picture, such as the car coming in from the left, the flash of brake lights on the car ahead, or a parked car with the driver at the wheel. When you have the habit of seeing the big picture, you can speed up, slow down, or change lanes to keep from getting trapped. Number 3 is to keep your eyes moving. Scanning the roadway continuously gives you a wide-screen motion picture of the scene ahead, plus a continuous check on the constantly changing picture to the rear. The Smith system says, check for possible hazards to the rear continuously. Make it a habit. When you see a hazard ahead, don't stare at it. Dispose of it by adjusting speed, changing lanes, signaling, or all 3 if necessary. These 3 seeing habits of the Smith system give you triple protection. The high aim, big picture habits tell you if objects ahead are moving or standing still. You must see such objects in relation to the ground to make a safe decision. When visibility is bad, you are forced to look low to find your steering path. You must automatically reduce your speed. If you find that you can't sustain your eye-moving habit, if you have to resort to a low aim and a fixed stare to keep the car on the road, you must automatically reduce speed to match the safety requirements at hand. The 4th good habit is to make sure that drivers of other vehicles see you as you approach them. Before passing another car, make sure he sees you. Tap your horn or flash your lights to make sure he is stabilized in his lane. A dangerous habit to avoid is driving in the blind spot of the rear vision of the car ahead for more than a second or 2. He may veer into your path just as you are getting ready to pass. Signal with your horn or lights to be certain that the pedestrian sees you. If you see a parked car in turnout position, use your horn if necessary. But be prepared to swing left, slow down, or stop if his wheels begin to move. And always, always, signal your intention to turn. The fifth of the 5 safe driving habits is the end product of all the others. Leave yourself an out. Your main purpose is to blend in traffic, to look for the line of least resistance, and never become a serious obstacle to anyone else. Whenever possible, have at least 1 car length between you and the car ahead for every 10 miles of speed. At 50 miles an hour, this means 5 car lengths. To avoid being boxed in, do your best to drive with an open space to the right or left for an emergency lane change. The Smith system brings out the importance of adjusting your speed to the greatly shortened sight distances of hills or curves and observing the road shoulder so you either have braking distance or a swerving path to leave yourself an out. Well, that's the Smith system. And because of its deep concern with the need to improve driving practices, the Traffic Safety and Highway Improvement Department of Ford Motor Company recommends the Smith system. It keeps you from making mistakes and guards you from errors made by others.
Understand those with whom we work in our daily lives? Do we understand what makes Bill the way he is? Or Ernie? Or Betty? Do we ever try to understand another person's viewpoint? To look at things his way? What about you, Bob Stevens? Do you understand other people? You seem to be a regular guy. Most people like you. In the next few minutes, let's see how you act and how you think in regard to others.
Steady, boy. This is the big day. You got your acceptance speech ready?
Sure he does. Oh, by the way, Bob, do you have anyone in mind for the social column? Yours truly, for instance?
Why ask me? Ask the new editor.
Whom did you think she was asking? Or were you just being big about it?
Oh, look, there's nothing sure about this thing. Miss Alton could have chosen any one of us on the staff, even old Ernie here.
All right, citizens. This is Ernie Davis, fighting city editor of the Southwest High Banner. Fighting copy boy, you mean? Hey, look what just came in. Somebody should have closed the door.
Now, Bill, that isn't nice. Ben Curtis really surprised me this year. He's, well, I think he's done well on the paper. Don't you?
I suppose it's a good thing for a fellow like Ben to get in on a few things.
Bill's right. Ben Curtis doesn't belong here. And that corny stuff he writes. Whew. Look at that get-up he's wearing. Weird, to say the least. Well, what can you expect from his kind? As far as I can see, his folks are strictly no good. His father never held a steady job in his life. Just worked long enough to buy a bottle. And his mother. I remember when Mom used to have her come over to the house to do the cleaning. She was a lousy worker. The whole family, stupid, ignorant people.
You do kind of wonder why he's on the school paper, though. You'd think he'd feel out of place around people like us.
You know, I think you have Ben all wrong. I know he hasn't got much of a family, but he's a pretty sharp character. Makes doggone good grades, too. A lot better than mine.
And that's something special. Everybody makes better grades than you, Ernie.
Okay, wise guy, I want to tell you something. I have an English class with Ben, and he's nobody's fool. You know, I think the guy has real talent for writing. For writing what? His name, you mean? Oh.
I don't know very much about him. He doesn't talk very much. Here comes Miss Alton. Sit here, Bob. I want to make sure you remember me for the social column.
This is it. I'd be a first-class liar if I didn't admit to myself that I'm gonna get this job. Who else? Bill? Nah, he doesn't work very hard at anything. Betty? I doubt it. Maybe Jim Gardner. Yeah, it could be either one of us. But I figure I'm the one. Everybody else thinks so, too.
Good afternoon. It looks as if we have a good attendance for our press club meeting. First of all, I'd like to make a little statement concerning the selection of our new editor-in-chief. Since you did ask me to make this selection, I can only assume that you expected a selection based on merit, and not necessarily on personality.
That lets Jim out. He's the personality kid around here.
I appreciate your trust in asking me to appoint your editor. It was a difficult decision. However, I hope my decision will meet with your approval. Well, to end the suspense, may I introduce the new editor-in-chief of the Southwest High Banner, Ben Curtis.
Ben Curtis? What the... She must be kidding. That screwball? Why, even old Ernie, he'd be 10 times better.
Ben, will you come up and take over?
It's not fair, Bob. That creep.
Creep is right. Look at the poor sap. He doesn't know what to do with himself. Brother, how long does he think he'll last? Look at him up there. Does he really think we're going to accept him as editor?
So that's what you think, Bob. Ben Curtis is not the man for the job you think you should have. From your viewpoint, Ben is a, what was it? A creep? A screwball? Are you right, Bob? Is he really such an undesirable person for the job? Do you really understand Ben Curtis? There must be reasons for everything Ben does. Let's go back. Back to the moment when Ben entered the room. Let's look at this incident again, from his viewpoint.
Are they laughing at me? I'm sure they make jokes behind my back. They think I'm odd because my clothes are old and worn, and because I have to spend all my spare time working instead of horsing around like they do. My whole life is different from theirs. I couldn't even begin to fit into their group. I wish they did like me. Maybe I could just walk over there and let them know that I want to be friendly. No, I'd better not. Why ask for trouble? That Ernie Davis, he'd probably make fun of me. Better stay away from them. Stuck-up bunch of snobs.
Hi, Ben.
Hi.
Say, I've got a hunch about you.
What?
You're going to be the new editor.
Me, editor? Are you kidding? Me, editor. If only it were true. I'd give anything to be editor.
Hey, here she comes now. Next year's editor coming up.
Good afternoon. Looks as if we have a good attendance for our press club meeting. First of all, I'd like to make a little statement concerning the selection of our new editor-in-chief. Since you did ask me to make this selection, I can only assume that you expected a selection based on merit and not necessarily on personality.
If Bob gets it, I hope he gives me a chance. I'd do anything he asked me to do. It wouldn't have to be a very big job.
I appreciate your trust in asking me to appoint your editor. It was a difficult decision. However, I hope my decision will meet with your approval. Well, to end the suspense, may I introduce the new editor-in-chief of the Southwest High Banner, Ben Curtis.
Me? Oh, no. Is she making fun of me? No. She's serious. I don't believe it. It can't be true.
Ben, will you come up and take over?
I told you so, Ben. Go to it, boy.
What do I do now? I can't get up in front of them. What'll I say? What do I do? Let me see. They're sure expecting something.
I guess there's no use in saying I'm surprised. You can see that.
Keep talking, Ben. Give yourself a chance to think.
I want to thank Miss Alton for this opportunity. I'll need all the help I can get from you. I'm open to suggestions on job assignments, so each one can work on the thing you like to do best. Are there any suggestions?
Now that we know more about you, Ben, we begin to understand you a little better. Why did they see you one way, Ben, and not as you really are? Is it possible that you do not give them enough basis for understanding? If we could see you from still another point of view, perhaps it would become even clearer. Miss Alton evidently sees in you something that many of your classmates do not. Let's go back again. Back to the moment when Miss Alton entered the room. Let's look at this incident from her point of view.
Well, here we go. This won't be easy. They're not going to like Ben Curtis as their new editor. Perhaps I shouldn't do this. I could still pick Bob Stevens or Jim Gardner. That's probably what they expect. Ben, though, is better qualified for the job. He's not only imaginative and writes well, but he's a hard worker and takes his work seriously. His ideas are just what this school paper needs. What a courageous youngster he is. With his background, it's amazing. The trouble with Ben is that he needs to join in more than he does. He has to let others know him, as I know him. If I do appoint him as editor, perhaps the job will make him do these very things. And it would definitely do something for the paper, that I know. Good afternoon. It looks as if we have a good attendance for our press club meeting. Still time to change your mind. No, I've made my decision. First of all, I'd like to make a little statement concerning the selection of our new editor-in-chief. Since you did ask me to make the selection, I can only assume that you expected a selection based on merit and not necessarily on personality. Look at them, all looking at Bob Stevens. He probably thinks he's got it. I appreciate your trust in asking me to appoint your editor. It was a difficult decision. Should I go through with it? Of course, I must. However, I hope my decision will meet with your approval. Well, to end the suspense, may I introduce the new editor-in-chief of the Southwest High Banner, Ben Curtis. There, I've done it. They don't seem to believe me. Even Ben, he doesn't believe it either. Why should he? Probably the first good break he ever had. Ben, will you come up and take over? Come on up and show them. You've got what it takes, but they don't know that yet. I wonder, though, are they too set against you because you're different? If only you'll meet them halfway, so they'll really get to know you.
There are many people like Ben, people with problems, people that we reject and ignore because we don't understand why they act as they do, and because they're different from our idea of friends. It's hard for the soft-spoken to understand the loudmouth. It's difficult to understand the shy if you're aggressive. Those who are physically attractive cannot always appreciate the loneliness of those who are not. What about the viewpoint of Bob and his friends? How can they reconcile their present attitude toward Ben with the fact that he will be the new head man of the staff? What should they do? And Ben, how realistic has he been in his attitude toward the others? What should he do to increase his chances of succeeding in his new job? What about Miss Alton? Do you think she did the right thing? What do you think?
And then I sit in my room and watch those cartoons and hope that I ain't seen. That's just life. Now let's strive when you're the trailer trash king. Hey, I'm the trailer trash king and I love Jim Beam, and everyone thinks I'm nuts. trailer trash.